You're going to hit some hurdles. And you got to get up and sprint through the finish line. That's what they did.
After another slow start, this time against Georgia Tech, the Irish hit the ground running on offense.
I mean, you don't love to see your quarterback without at least one foot on the ground, but he's a competitor. That's what makes him special.
Defense. And special teams.
When his number was called, he was definitely ready.
And walked away with the victory.
This group just continues to believe.
Today, the Irish face off against a storied rival in a top 25 matchup.
They're really good at hawking the ball and trying to take it away from you.
Taking on the triple option.
Mistakes get magnified when you play an offense of this caliber. So everybody's got to be on the same page.
And a Heisman hopeful quarterback.
We want to be relevant. You don't just want to be another game that Notre Dame has to play, another game that anybody has to play.
It's Notre Dame versus Navy.
It's really easy to lose eyes and fall into the trash.
This is ABC57 Kickoff, presented by Afton Dental, live from the Meadowlands, with your hosts Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
On the road again, the Irish are playing in an NFL stadium for the second straight week. This time, taking on undefeated Navy at noon right here on ABC 57. And we have got your ticket to the party. All of the pregame action right here on the field. Welcome to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes.
And I'm Vahid Sadrazadeh. And does it get better than this if you're looking for a college football game on a Saturday? The storied rivalry between Navy and Notre Dame commences once again here in New Jersey, the Meadowlands in New York City. The Subway alum are going to be here. It's going to be a spectacular atmosphere, Allison, and a game that they've circled for a long time. The Navy Midshipmen coming in undefeated.
Yeah, and by the way, it's a beautiful day here. It is in the mid-50s right now. The sun is shining. It's a little bit breezy, but as this day goes along, it is a perfect fall day for football.
And it's going to be a great one. The Irish are looking for their sixth straight victory after getting it done last week in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. Notre Dame once again getting out to a slow start, stumbling out of the gates, falling behind by a touchdown, and quarterback Riley Leonard throwing an interception, his first since week 2 against Northern Illinois. But then the Irish stepping on the gas as they've done in the previous 5 games, scoring 31 straight points and did not look back. Jeremiah Love once again scoring a touchdown for the 8th straight game, tying him for the longest such streak at Notre Dame in 25 years. Xavier Watts also adding to his interception total with another interception. And later, Don Schuler scoring a pick 6 to put the game away. Final score, Notre Dame running away with it 31-13.
Yeah, that's right. And this is just one of those historic rivalries. And it dates back nearly a century. Starting in 1927, they played every year up until that COVID-19 pandemic. And we all remember that blowout.
And we do, yeah. And last year at Ireland, you were there, a great game, but this is a different team. This is not your father's Navy triple option team. A lot more passing, a lot more offense. So let's check in with ABC 57's Levon Whitaker, who also joins us inside the stadium at MetLife. Levon?
Yeah, Allison, Vahid, that triple option offense of Navy, we talk about it every single season that this game rolls around. The offense, it is especially unique in the college football world, and teams oftentimes have to take a little more time to prepare and get ready for that Navy triple option. That includes Notre Dame, and this year Navy is undefeated, so that playbook, that triple option playbook, has expanded.
It's a new era of Navy Midshipmen football.
The fundamentals of the way you defend this type of offense is different than a normal week.
Navy implemented the triple option back in 2002, and they haven't looked back since. But with new offensive coordinator Drew Cronick, this isn't the same Navy the Irish faced in Dublin, Ireland last year or in years past.
It's not your traditional just every play quarterback under center triple option. It is it's some type of option, but they can do it out of gun, under center,
But the midshipmen are also getting the job done in the air.
Mistakes get magnified when you play an offense of this caliber.
I don't know what the percentage was last year, but this year they're about 45% in the gun. And that's something that I know it wasn't that percentage last year. They were some in the gun.
Led by their dual-threat quarterback, Blake Horvath.
They have a guy in Horvath that can make it go.
Navy is fourth in scoring offense, averaging nearly 45 points per game compared to just 17 points last year.
You know, talented slot backs, two really good fullbacks, a guy in the perimeter that can stretch you, so they can hit you at a lot of different angles, and obviously Horvath can beat you with his feet, with his arm.
To help emulate Horvath's athleticism, Freeman is looking to former Notre Dame starting quarterback Tyler Buckner on scout team prep, which could help the inexperience of the defense.
All three layers of our defense and coaching staff, leadership, players, everybody's got to be on the same page.
Those layers are typically more important for the Notre Dame linebackers. Guys like Captain Jack Kaiser has been teaching the ropes to young players like Jaden Osbury, Kingston Biliamuasa, and Drake Bowen, who played against the triple option in high school.
Just knowing how fast it's going to be from high school, you know, it's not going to be the exact same speed, but just knowing how quick it's going to happen, where you're going to have to fit, how fast you're going to be there. And then, you know, also Jack doing it for so long, that kind of helps.
Well, listen, the Irish have spent so much extra time in the film room this week to prepare for Navy. During fall break, the practice hours, the physical practice hours for Notre Dame and any college football team, they're reduced by about half. So Notre Dame can't spend 40 hours throughout this week preparing for Navy. Instead, they spend extra time in the film room getting ready for the undefeated midshipmen.
Well, Levon, it's going to come down to this Notre Dame defense really staying sound. How is the defense with a lot of young guys? How are they preparing for this game? Some of them never seen Navy offense before.
I got one name for you, Vahid. Ben Morrison. You know he's out for the rest of the season, but guess what? This guy, even on bed rest, he's still preparing these young guys, Leonard Moore and Carson Hobbs, the two cornerbacks stepping in as freshmen. He's doing that while recovering from surgery, breaking down film for these young guys. He did it against Georgia Tech before Leonard Moore's first career start, and now he's doing it again as they get ready for Navy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Levon. We'll check in with you again shortly.
Yeah, and you know, Navy is 6-0 for the first time in 45 years of the Heat. After an easy win over Charlotte last week at home, they're looking to keep it rolling this season. The midshipmen forced 5 turnovers en route to a 51-17 victory. Cornerback Deshaun Peel became the first Navy player to return 2 interceptions for touchdowns in a game. Quarterback Blake Horvath also threw for 3 touchdowns and 117 yards. Right now, he's one of only 2 FBS quarterbacks who have at least 10 touchdown passes and 10 rushing touchdowns on the season.
Well, this isn't your dad's Navy offense. Again, scoring almost 45 points a game, and this is a dangerous quarterback. And paired along with that triple option, Allison, I think this defense is really going to have to play a great game for Notre Dame.
That's what they say. You got to play sound assignment football.
Yep.
Don't get caught up in any of the trickery. It'll be interesting to see how the young guys respond to that.
We are just getting started here on ABC57 Kickoff, live from the Meadowlands. The voice of Navy football coming up next joins us live with a breakdown of this midshipman team and where they could give Notre Dame some problems. But first, here's a sneak peek at what's coming up through our 2 hours here on ABC 57 Kickoff.
He got his first pick 6 last week against Georgia Tech. But this is the game Notre Dame safety Adon Schuler has circled on his calendar.
I dream my whole life to play there.
And he'll have a crowd of supporters cheering him on.
I call them my village.
Full circle. Super Bowl champion Howard Cross knows a thing or two about playing at the Meadowlands. Now it's his son's turn. The New York Giants legend joins us live. Plus, forget about it.
Meadowlands, home of the Jets and the Giants. Jets and the boys in blue.
We hit the streets of New Jersey for a little pregame fun. Pictures of courage.
Just a scratch. Never got anything serious. I was always lucky.
He may be a lifelong Notre Dame fan, but for one Purple Heart veteran, today is all about honoring the commitment he made to our country. And
you have guys at your legs the entire time, just diving at your knees, crawling at your knees.
Golic in a golf cart is back. The Notre Dame and broadcasting legend breaks down the challenges of the triple option.
Welcome back to a sunny MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. A top 25 matchup between two rivals. Notre Dame, the higher-ranked team, but the Midshipmen are undefeated, and only one of 3 teams in the FBS that won every game this season by at least 10 points. Trivia for you guys, can you name the other 2? Nope, Army and Indiana. And Notre Dame plays Army later this season.
All right, well, we are joined now. You see, we've got added to our team up here. We're joined now by Pete Medhurst, the radio play-by-play voice of Navy football. You've been doing that since 2013, but you've been on the radio calling games for many, many years since then. And what have you seen with this Navy football program? How has it changed under head coach Brian Newberry and new offensive coordinator Drew Cronick that has led to Navy being undefeated this season?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at Drew Cronick's history as an offensive guy, no matter where he was, whether he was at NAIA Reinhardt or whether he was at Mercer, Wofford, I mean, everywhere he's been, he has found success. And it's because he's been flexible. It's never been the same offense. If he's got, last year at Mercer, he had 2 NFL caliber wide receivers, so he ran a lot more things to, show those guys and show those wide receivers off. So it was a lot more spread at Mercer. Obviously at Navy, we've shown a lot of stuff so far this year. It's been a lot of fun to watch this offense so far grow under Drew Cronick, that's for sure.
Well, and this offense under Blake Horvath, who's really taking the reins here. We've heard his name all week long. What can you tell us about him that makes him so dangerous in that offense?
He's the most level-headed kid you'll find. So whether there's a negative play, which there haven't been many. I mean, Navy's only had a handful of negative plays all year. But if you look at the way he runs this offense, he's got a complete understanding of what Drew Cronick is asking him. And I asked Drew Cronick this a couple of weeks ago. Now that they've got the headset where you can talk to your quarterback for 15 seconds, and I asked him, I said, well, how does Blake handle that when you turn off the headset in those final 15 seconds? He said he's been almost flawless. His ability to get Navy in the right play at all times. That's one of the reasons why you show us even front. We're going to run something against you that is going to, obviously try and take advantage of that. But again, today is a little bit of a different animal. You've got quite an opponent out there today. Mr. Cross going to be incredibly difficult to block up front and presents a great challenge for Navy today.
A little bit different defense that you'll be facing today.
No question.
Well, and Benjamin Morrison is out for the game. How does that affect what Navy's going to do?
Well, I think the fact that we're throwing the ball more than we've ever have probably affects it a little bit. But, this is still Notre Dame. The guys that are running in as replacements are still, 4- and 5-star caliber players. So just because you lose a good guy doesn't mean the guy that's coming off the bench is chopped liver either. And I think, as I've described Notre Dame this year, in college football, the big brand names don't get a do-over. That early season matchup with Northern Illinois after beating a really good Texas A&M team, those brand names don't necessarily get that do-over and that courtesy. And since that game, Marcus has done an amazing job keeping his team engaged, and they have been fabulous each and every week, and they've gotten better each and every week. And obviously they're going to be a handful, I think, in the latter part of this season here in college football.
Despite Navy being undefeated, Notre Dame still a favorite in this game. What do you feel like has to happen and go just right for Navy to pull off the upset today?
Well, I mean, obviously the typical coach speak things. We can't turn the football over, and we need some help from Notre Dame. I did Riley Leonard's Military Bowl game 2 years ago and got a great chance to know him a little bit the week of that game, and he's such I describe him almost like Blake Horvath, level-headed guy. Is not going to panic in any 3rd and long situation. We've seen him be a willing runner for the Irish so far this year. And when you have to game plan for 11 guys as opposed to just 10, where the quarterback is just a statue, That's easier for defenses. But when you've got a plan for Riley Leonard escaping the pocket, he's the guy that on 3rd and 5 gets 6 and breaks your team's heart, and all of a sudden you've been on the field for 12 or 13 plays, and it becomes a 6-minute drive, and it wears your defense down. So when the opportunity comes to get him off the field today, that's one of the biggest things, I think, for Navy in this game.
Pete, thank you so much. You got a game to call up there, so we're going to let you go, but thank you for joining us.
Got plenty of time. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. On the mend, when we come back here to the Meadowlands, the Notre Dame injury report, who's out and who's returning for the Irish, plus your game day forecast.
Meteorologist Dave Caulfield here, checking in on the Notre Dame and Navy forecast. Should have temperatures in the 60s throughout the game, starting off in the mid-60s, highs by the time we get to about halftime or so in the upper 60s with a mixture of sun and clouds, a little bit more sunshine possible by later on in the day between the contests of Notre Dame and Navy. Now, I have been to MetLife Stadium, or formerly Giant Stadium, a number of times. I grew up just about 15 minutes away from where this game is being played, and one thing I'll tell you is it can get pretty windy inside that stadium, and wind gusts could be an issue, especially as we head closer to the second half with gusts of 20 to 25 miles per hour near MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. So that will be something to watch as we head into game time. It could affect the kicking game and possibly even the passing game in some cases. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield for ABC57 Kickoff.
What Ben told me is don't think about it like you're a freshman, but like just think about it, you going out there and playing football. Don't give yourself any excuses. Just go out there and guard your man. Like he's in surgery, he's going through it, but he's still taking his time to talk to me. Like he sent me a message before the game.
Oh, Captain, my captain, All-American Ben Morrison may be out for the season with a hip injury, but he's still doing all he can to help this young Irish defense, sending words of encouragement to quarterback Leonard Moore from the hospital. The true freshman stepped in last week, had 7 tackles, 2 pass breakups last week against the Yellow Jackets in only his second start. The Irish are living by that mantra this season of basically next man in, Allison.
And that's the way it goes, right? Yeah. It's college football. It's midway through the season. Let's take a look at Notre Dame's on the men injury report for today's game against Navy. The Irish may be without field goal kicker Mitch Jeter for a second straight game. Jeter missed last Saturday's game against Georgia Tech with a hip injury and only had 1 kickoff against Stanford. Safety Tay Johnson also remains sidelined. He hurt his foot in fall camp and had to have surgery, but the Irish do expect to get him back sometime this season.
The good news, Billy Schrouth is expected to play today. Still TBD, Coach Freeman tells us, on his role. Schrouth started the first 3 games at right guard before spraining his ankle at Purdue.
Well, it will be interesting to see how they integrate Schroth back into the mix. Right. We got Rocco Spindler, who's been playing pretty well in the position so far in his absence. Well, today is the last impression Notre Dame can make with the College Football Playoff Committee before the first rankings are going to be released.
And Pete Sampson will join us here on the other side of the break. But first, we all want to take a moment to remember ABC57 anchor Jennifer Copeland, who passed away, our colleague, after a brave fight with a rare form of ovarian cancer. A beloved and respected member of our community, she was just 46 years old. Memorial contributions in Jennifer's name can be made to the GCS Project, a nonprofit dedicated to finding a cure.
Okay. A top 25 matchup at the Meadowlands. Notre Dame facing off against Navy at noon right here on ABC 57. Another loss by the Irish, and their playoff hopes may be over. But if Navy wins, the undefeated Midshipmen could enter the playoff discussion. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. To talk more about that with us now is what we can expect from today's game is Pete Sampson from The Athletic. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Pete. We love having you on. Let's get right into it. Giving some numbers here. The Navy quarterback, Blake Horvath, a dual threat, averaging 148 passing yards with 10 touchdowns through the air. He also has 103 rushing yards with 10 touchdowns on the ground. His numbers really aren't that far off from Riley Leonard, but Blake is celebrated for it while Riley Leonard is criticized for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, welcome to Notre Dame, where, the goal is to play for a national championship or make the playoff. Navy is sort of like this upstart, inspiring story. And, to Horvath's credit, if he passed more, if he had enough attempts to qualify for the national rank, he actually would be number one in the country in pass efficiency. So what he's doing is incredible. I mean, they're sort of like the unexpected upstart story, easy to get behind. I think with Riley Leonard, big transfer, big name, big program, huge expectations. I think we're certainly much more of a nitpick approach with Riley Leonard than we are with Horvath.
Well, and as the offensive line goes, so does Riley Leonard. This offensive line has been piecemeal all year long. How do you think they're progressing? They're so young up front.
Yeah, I think they've been adequate. I'm not sure I'd go a whole lot farther than that. I do think Pat Coogan at center has played really well since he came in, in place of injury there. I do think getting Billy Schrouth back, whether that's today or after the bye at guard, will be critical. I think he's probably their most physically gifted offensive lineman. But, when you got Sam Pendleton and Anthony Knapp, young players, first-year starters, you're going to have to live and play through some of these mistakes. They're doing that this year. But, yeah, I think it's not a classic Notre Dame offensive line by any stretch, but certainly it should be good enough to not only win today, but help Notre Dame close out the rest of the season.
I want to skip ahead a little bit and talk a little big picture with you. I read The Athletic. I love your articles. And looking at some playoff implications, of course, today, Notre Dame Navy, we've got LSU and Texas A&M on ABC. Those are going to have some implications there. The Irish staying put at the rankings at number 12, but The Athletic still has Notre Dame with a 75% chance of getting into the playoffs if they win out. If they do win out, who do you think could be a potential matchup for the Irish in that first round?
Yeah, if they go 11-1, they'll certainly make it. And I think our sort of algorithm says that if they win today, they'll probably have an 83% chance. So we'll go up even more. But I think you're kind of looking at a Clemson, a Penn State, maybe in the first round, something like that. And if you go 11-1, I think you're really going to be on the cut line between the 8 or the 9 seed, and that is a huge, huge difference. Going on the road hosting, certainly for South Bend, to have a home game in late December would be an incredible scene. So, yeah, I think sort of the Clemson, Penn State, not a conference champion, but a team that was really good. That's
so
probably
they're still in the mix to maybe host in
South
Bend.
They are sort of on the cut line with that now. So obviously they have to win out, but if they do and some things break their way, maybe Texas A&M wins today, that makes that win look even better for Notre Dame. That can help Notre Dame maybe finish at the 7 or 8 slot in the final rankings.
Do you think, Pete, the knock on Notre Dame, obviously the story about not being in a conference, but do you think they will get ahead as a one-loss team ahead of a two-loss SEC or Big Ten team?
It depends on the team, because I do think if, let's say, Oregon and Ohio State play in the Big Ten championship and Oregon wins, so Ohio State finishes 11-2. I don't think Notre Dame's going to get in ahead of a two-loss conference championship game loser. But certainly, if Penn State finishes 10-2, they don't make it. Alabama, if they finish 10-2, they don't make the SEC championship game. I do think Notre Dame would go ahead of them at 11-1.
You think Notre Dame gets it done today?
I do. I like Notre Dame. I think that they'll win this game on offense. That offensive line you talked about, Riley Leonard. I think they're finding more and more what he can do. His strengths. And then Jadarian Price, Jeremiah Love. So I like Notre Dame 35-21 today, and I think they'll win the game on offense.
All right.
Pete Sampson, thanks so much for joining us, as always. An iconic photo taken on an unforgettable day. How a group of New York firefighters are carrying on the legacy of a lifelong Notre Dame fan. That's next.
Welcome back to ABC57 Kickoff. We are live here at Met Stadium, Notre Dame and Navy, just moments away from being able to take field and put this top 25 showdown on display for all fans to see.
Yeah, it should be a good matchup. Tunnel to Towers. For a group of New York first responders, Notre Dame football will always hold a special place in their hearts.
That's right. As ABC57's Kevin Wormhold shows us, they're carrying on the legacy of their friend, their brother, a lifelong Irish fan who paid the ultimate sacrifice on September 11th during the terrorist attacks.
24 years ago, several first responders from New York came to Notre Dame and watched the Irish pull out a win with a last-second field goal against Purdue. Less than a year later, a member from that group died on the attacks on the World Trade Center. Now, one man is making sure that his friend's sacrifice will never be forgotten. In the final seconds of the Notre Dame versus Purdue game back in 2000, a last-second field goal sealed the victory for the Irish. Fans stormed the field, including a group of 30 New York firefighters and police officers in town for a bachelor's party.
One of our guys in our group, our ringleader, spotted something, made a beeline towards it.
One of the firefighters even picked up the Notre Dame leprechaun, Mike Brown, and carried him off the field.
Emerged from the tunnel with the Notre Dame leprechaun on his shoulders.
The former mascot remembers the celebration well.
Nick Setta, who's a friend of mine, he kicked that game-winning field goal, and it was a big win for us because we had gotten beaten the year before. So everyone stormed the field.
And the guys snapped this photo.
His name is Jimmy Ritchie.
Frank Keogh describes it as the most iconic picture of their lives.
One short year later, Jimmy died in the attacks on 9/11.
Jimmy Riches was one of 343 New York firefighters who died on September 11, 2001, saving the lives of thousands. Keogh wanted to keep his friend's memory alive and give back to those who served and lost their lives in the line of duty.
We started running a memorial trip in his name. It's called the Leprechaun Memorial.
That memorial would turn into something bigger.
I established a mission-based business, Tribal Events, where we cater to heroes. We bring cops, firemen, military, family, friends, and we host events for them.
He partnered up with the organization Tunnel to Towers. Another friend of Jimmy's, Anthony Lacaraza, has been in law enforcement for 27 years and now sits on the executive board for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
This foundation is based on never forgetting those who serve and the families that are left behind in case they paid the ultimate sacrifice. So coming here has a lot of meaning for me.
Both Keogh and Lacaraza came back to Notre Dame last October with friends, family, and fellow first responders to raise money for Tunnel to Towers and celebrate the legacy of their friend, Jimmy Riches.
May God bless Jimmy Riches. May God bless Johnny Malloy. This is for you, boys.
After the special tailgate, they walked into Notre Dame Stadium and watched the Irish beat Pitt 58-7. A victory for the New York crew, just as it was 24 years ago when that iconic photo was taken. This photo to this group of guys is the most iconic photo to this group. What does it mean to you to be a part of this for the rest of their lives? This is like history for them.
Yeah, it's special. I always talk about the time as a leprechaun, and I encourage even other leprechauns to not take moments for granted and to really take in the full experience because you never know whose life you might impact.
Kevin Wormhold, ABC57 Kickoff.
Well, here now with Nick McLeod, of course, a former Notre Dame cornerback. You made your way here to the Giants. Just to kind of start us off, take us through your journey a little bit of, just one season at Notre Dame in 2020, and you've worked your way up and really coming into your own here with the Giants.
Like you said, I started my career at NC State, transferred to Notre Dame for the 2020 season. That was probably like one of the top 5 decisions I've ever made. So just going through that season and having a different kind of experience of my college football career and just a life experience, it was just great. And, just taking the qualities and everything that I've learned from the time I was brought up to the time I came through Notre Dame and just keep going till I got to this point. That's the biggest thing, just keep going and try to keep progressing in everything I do. So
to get picked up off of waivers and then work your way up to coming off a career season last year, just how does that happen at this stage? It seems like it would be very difficult to make that transition.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's just a lot of perseverance and a lot of faith, a lot of trust in God. Really, like I said, you can't really control every circumstance that you're put in, but you can control how you attack the circumstance. So that's kind of the mentality that I come into it with, just attacking circumstances, whatever that may be, with the best attitude and the best kind of, like I said, perseverance and heart that I got to attack the circumstance. So.
Well, you're an expert now at this position. I'm going to let Levon take this part, but we're transitioning now to this game we're here in town for.
Yeah, X's and O's, man. When it comes to this Notre Dame defense, they're top 10 in the country, and they've done it with some very young guys due to injuries. I'm sure you heard of the name Benjamin Morrison, out for the season, but now there's a young guy in his position named Leonard Moore, a freshman, and that's kind of where they thrived at. I'm going to line us up here, man. I'll play receiver. You're going to play your natural position as a cornerback. Now, if I'm running a post or something, I guess, what's the difference? As a field or boundary cornerback, what do you do as a cornerback when a receiver's coming at you, running a post or taking that corner?
I would say in the boundary, it's going to be a lot less condensed, a lot less space. So in the boundary, like, you're going to see a lot of times guys going to be pressed up in the boundary, trying to get their hands on the guys to eliminate the field. And then when you transition to the field corner, that's when a lot of times you see guys playing off coverage, just trying to get themselves a better chance to cut the field off and things of that nature. But really, like, to sum it all up, just more aggressive in the boundary and more kind of like on top to the field, you know what I'm saying? So
and allowing that safety to kind of, be your helping hand over top. Okay, makes sense. Well, Notre Dame has done that very well, and guys like Adon Shula and Xavier Watts have benefited from that with 2 interceptions each this season.
Yep, definitely.
Now, you've had experience playing that triple option against Navy. How difficult is that to defend?
Man, you just gotta have your eyes in the right spot. You gotta be physical. Like it's very tough. Like, people don't think it's tough to defend, but until you really play against it and kind of experience that, you really don't understand how tough it is going against that. So I think we'll be fine. Like I said, we just gotta have our eyes in the right spot and come physical, ready to play. So.
You said you still follow the Irish. You're all about this game and this weekend. Just what are your thoughts on the matchup, and how do you think the Irish pull it off?
I mean, me personally, I'm going to rely to Xavier a lot, because I played with him when I was there. He was a freshman when I was there, so I gotta put a lot on him to be the leader, that defense leader of that team. Just get the guys ready and go make plays. So.
All right, what's your score prediction for this game, man?
Score prediction. It's going to be a lot of running the ball from both sides. So, but it's going to be a lot of defense being played by us. So if I had a predicted score, I'm going 28-17.
Ooh.
28-17.
It's not that close.
It's a 12-point spread, 13-point spread in favor of Notre Dame, and they got the over/under about 51.5 points.
Yeah.
So that's a good one from a defensive mind. I might take that into account before I place my bets.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Nick McLeod, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Levon, we had too much fun in that locker room. That was so fun. We're going to have more from them coming up in just a little bit in the show. But the best part about Nick's story is how he got to be with the Giants. He started out, he was at Notre Dame for just one season. He was an undrafted free agent by the Buffalo Bills in 2021. He never got off of the practice squad with the Bills. Then he bounced around with a few different teams before getting picked up off of waivers by the Giants. Then last season, he had a career season. He had 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and an interception. Definitely an inspiration. You don't give up, guys. You never give up.
And so far, through almost midway through this season, he's got 8 tackles. He's also got a pass breakup, and the Giants play the Steelers on Monday Night Football. And listen, it's going to be a great game. Nick McLeod, though, you said great story and just a great human being overall, showing us what it's like to be a boundary or field cornerback on the field, and then just putting the expectations on Xavier Watts, last year's National Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, if anybody can handle the weight on their shoulders, it's Xavier Watts, and he's showing up this season. He's going to have a huge impact on these young guys today as well.
Yep, Nick's got practice today, right now actually, but as soon as it's over, he said he's coming straight over here to the stadium so that he can make it here for the second half of this Irish game. All right, we still have so much more to come live from MetLife Stadium. Stick around, we'll be right back. Notre Dame and Navy going head-to-head for the 97th time today, right here on ABC57. The Irish offense may have their hands full. The Midshipmen are perfect in the red zone this season, going 23 for 23, and 22 of those scores have been for touchdowns. Welcome back to ABC57 Kickoff. The good news, of course, is The 10th-ranked Notre Dame defense has been playing lights out this season, and despite a rash of those injuries.
Yeah, through 7 games, Allison, the Irish have racked up 35 tackles for a loss, 18 sacks, 8 forced fumbles, and 9 interceptions. Levon Whitaker joins us here once again. This Irish defense, that's where it's at.
Yeah, well, listen, they got a handful of interceptions this season. 2 of those, plus a touchdown, coming from Don Schuler, Notre Dame safety. He's a sophomore, and today is his homecoming here in New Jersey. He's a Jersey native, grew up just outside of Jersey in East Rutherford, and has a village of supporters here ready to cheer him on against Navy.
For outsiders, MetLife Stadium is just another NFL venue. But for Notre Dame safety Don Schuler, playing here is a dream come true.
Been a dream my whole life to play there.
Schuler, a sophomore, grew up just 20 minutes away from the Meadowlands, and his decision to continue his career with the Irish was based on the possibility of one day returning to where it all started.
While I was getting recruited, I found out that we were going to have an opportunity to play either in New Jersey or New York, and we get able to do both this year.
The opportunity to play Navy in a historic matchup is an honor. Playing in front of a community that raised you is unforgettable.
I call them my village, all the people that have just always supported me since I was younger.
Their mentality is Irvington tough.
It's a mindset that we go by in Irvington. It's like you have to have a tough mindset, and that's just how you get through things.
And that translates onto the playing field.
Being tough, gritty, being a tone setter, making the plays, making the hits, and kind of just putting your body out there for your team.
Schuler's been exceptional in that area. In his first career start for the Irish, in a hostile environment against Texas A&M, Don showed up and earned his first career interception. Last week against Georgia Tech, he returned the INT for a pick 6.
My coach told me to read the quarterback's eyes and kind of mirror him. And then the quarterback, he overthrew the ball to the receiver and made a play.
Big plays like that aren't the only ones that Schuler wants to make, at least not on the field. A sociology major with a minor in real estate, he also wants to create opportunities for the youth in his community.
I have younger siblings, so I kind of use them to measure how I'm doing in the world, and especially for the Irvington community, being that kind of vocal figure for them.
Schuler is already making a difference, hosting and showing up for youth camps in the Irvington community. It's his way of paying it forward, something he learned from his parents, Fran and Don Schuler. And he has a special message for his family and friends attending today's game.
I just want to say I can't wait to be back home and just can't wait to put on the show. I love you guys, and I'm glad that you're going to be there to watch.
Well, right now I am joined by Don Schuler's parents, Don and Fran. It's so great to have you all out here. I know it wasn't much of a drive for you. You're only about 20 minutes away, but you seen your boy out here, your oldest of 3. Tell me what it means to see him out here on the field, 20 minutes away from where he grew up.
It's amazing to see him out here on the field. This is actually my first time on the field, so to be here, my first time, and him being here, it's an amazing experience.
Now, Pops, he told me that you also play football at Irvington High School. He's helped continue that legacy, and now he's brought it back to East Rutherford, New Jersey. He's in the blue and gold. You guys were big on Notre Dame from the beginning. Your boy is out there doing his thing, man. How's it feel?
It feels great, man. It's surreal for him to actually accomplish what he's been setting out to do since he was young. And, me and my wife, we was always back and forth, trainings and Pop Warner and things like that. And it just feels great that he's able to come back here to his home state and ready to put on today.
Now, I heard y'all got Section 133 locked down with all the Schuler's friends and families. Man, how many people y'all got out here today?
I think we have upwards of maybe about 30 people, and then that's not including the people that are in the parking lot watching the game.
Oh, my God, that is beautiful. Well, listen, talk about Don. How did he get here? His tough, his grittiness. He talks about Irvington tough a lot. What helped him get to this stage of college football?
Well, just simple facts, being from Essex County, New Jersey, Newark, Irvington, it's a little different growing up there. So, basically nothing is given to you. So, we had to work and earn for every little crumb that he got. And he just took to it well, and he made, he adapted to every situation. And right now he's prospering, and, we think we got a good village behind us. So that also helps as well. So we're grateful for that.
Well, Don used that same word. He said this is his village. He's happy that you all are out here. He left a message to you all saying he just wants to put on for his family in front of the crowd here at East Rutherford. Listen, he's going to have a great game, I'm sure of it. He's got 2 interceptions, 1 pick six this season, and we got so much for you, so much more for you right here on ABC57 Kickoff. We'll be right back.
A lot of guys, even on the punt fake, were texting after the game, hey, coach, I can't believe, we ran it, everything.
A lot of tricks leading to a lot of treats for the Irish. Special teams pulling out all the stops last week against Georgia Tech, essentially for the first time all season, stepping up. Freshman Bryce Young blocked a kick. The Irish faked a punt, and former starting quarterback Tyler Buckner also saw the field for the first time this season, running the ball in a fake field goal. We'll see if he'll be called on again today to steal another possession, but he already played a vital role this week, taking reps as a scout team quarterback to help the Irish defense get ready for the triple option. We asked Marcus Freeman at the beginning of the season, what role is he going to play? And he said he is open to anything and everything. And we saw it last week.
Yeah, and you can see behind us, we've got the quarterbacks are out here getting warmed up right now. The players are taking the field. Yep, we got Riley Leonard and crew. Just a great atmosphere here in East Rutherford. Now, congratulations go out to team captain Jack Kaiser, who was named a finalist this week for the prestigious Campbell Trophy. It's also known as the Academic Heisman. The award honors an athlete for their leadership on and off the field. Now, a 6th-year linebacker, Kaiser has racked up 219 career tackles, 11 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, 4 interceptions, including 2 pick sixes, and he was named the Notre Dame 2023 Special Teams Player of the Year. I love that about him. Kaiser also served as a team leader for Fighting Irish Fight for Life and Cleats for a Cause, and he is a force in the classroom, earning 2 Notre Dame degrees, including a master's in accounting. And no Notre Dame player has actually ever won the Campbell Trophy Award, but J.D. Bertrand, he was a finalist last year.
On and off the field for Jack Kaiser. We're going to be right back here live from the Meadowlands on ABC57 Kickoff, taking you up to Notre Dame versus Navy right here on ABC.
Bada bing, baby. Forget about it. We love it here in New Jersey. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes with Vahid Sadrzadeh and Levon Whitaker.
Hey, we got a Soprano surprise for you here this morning as we get you ready for Navy and Notre Dame. I'm walking here. It's so good to be in New Jersey. The sun is out, beautiful conditions in the 60s. Levon, we've got a heck of a football game coming up for you here today.
That's right. Listen, we look at this team, these 2 teams, there's a lot going on. Notre Dame on the 5-game winning streak, Navy undefeated. We can't say that too often, but the Navy run game is still bread and butter as it has been this entire season. But Blake Horvath is truly a dual-threat QB. He threw for 3 touchdowns last week in the win over Charlotte. He's also Navy's second leading rusher, so the Notre Dame defense will definitely have their hands full. But in today's Freeman's focus, the Irish may have a secret weapon to help get them ready for Navy.
Each year, the college football schedule gives every team the same number of games.
You get 12 guaranteed opportunities.
Notre Dame prepares for 11 of those opponents during game week, but the Navy Midshipmen get special attention.
I think we've been preparing for it since fall camp.
Preparation is key for any opponent, but for Navy, the Irish need as much time as possible for the Midshipmen's dynamic offense.
They're putting up big numbers offensively, and you know, their offensive scheme is enhanced from what we saw last year.
Navy has always ran the triple option, and that's still the case this year, but what really makes it challenging?
It's really hard to simulate in practice the speed at which they run their offense.
Due to season-ending injuries, guys like cornerback Ben Morrison and defensive end Jordan Botello can't bring the Irish offense up to speed. But there is a familiar face to help simulate the speed of Navy's triple option.
You're asking me if Buckner's going to be the scout team quarterback? Sure. He's going to get some scout team quarterback reps.
Former starting quarterback Tyler Buckner can match the athleticism of Navy, but it's hard to replicate everything else the undefeated midshipmen do well.
They've been tremendous in the red zone on offense and defense and done a great job in terms of creating turnovers and protecting the football. They're really good in the turnover margin battle. They're playing great complementary football.
But so is Notre Dame. The Irish are riding a 5-game winning streak heading into the Meadowlands, and it will come down to more than just complementary football against the second-ranked team in red zone offense. The Midshipmen scoring on all 23 attempts.
You're intentional about having Navy periods on certain days during fall camp. We attacked it again during the bye week, and so we had a good base for a foundation for what we've planned on doing.
On the flip side, the foundation of Notre Dame's defense, ranked 10th in the country, are holding opponents to just 9 touchdowns and an average of 279 yards per game, and it will take another solid performance to read Navy's triple option and limit explosive plays.
This game will require to make sure you're disciplined with your eyes, you understand your fit, then you got to use your God-given abilities.
Well, this will definitely be a challenge for Al Golden's defense, his 10th ranked defense in the country. There's roughly 7 to 9 young players on this Irish defense who've never played against Navy. They will have their hands full today.
Yeah, Coach Freeman mentioned also that the Irish will continue to practice going against the triple option so they don't get it wrong.
Yeah, well, remember, the Irish also have the Army coming up, so in a few weeks, the Black Knights are also going to be undefeated, potentially facing against Notre Dame, so the focus will still be about the triple option with just 1 game left in the regular season. Notre Dame, they're going to go on a roller coaster ride here for a few weeks.
Well, and despite the nearly 45 points per game for Navy, Notre Dame still a 2-touchdown favorite today here at the Meadowlands over the Midshipmen. But Levon's going to let you know next where you should put your hard-earned dollar bills inside the lines. Coming up next.
A historic rivalry reignites the Irish versus the Midshipmen in a top 25 battle. This is the first time since 2019 both Notre Dame and Navy are ranked heading into this matchup, and with kickoff now less than an hour away, if you haven't placed your bets, you better get on it.
It's getting warm. It was cold for a little bit. Now, listen, I might have to shed this jacket. You're so hot.
Well, you see, I don't have on my gloves and hat. That's because I was able to get a win last week in Atlanta. The ATL was good to me, at least for Notre Dame. I'm 3-0 when it comes to Notre Dame on the road. Because listen, this game will come down to how many points Notre Dame can score, and I don't understand how Notre Dame can really get this wrong. You have to be aggressive on offense. But listen, the Irish are 3-0 coming off bye week, but also 3-0 going into the bye week, which is what they will be on next week. Today they face the undefeated Navy Midshipmen. And to add to that, Notre Dame has been great on the road, as I mentioned. They covered the spread in all 3 of those games today. Last I checked, they were 13-point favorites. The over-under 51.5 was 52.5. That's a ton of points I got it. I got you. Don't worry. But listen, Tim Murray with Vegas Sports and Information was correct in taking Notre Dame to cover the spread against Stanford the last time they were at home. Let's see what he has to say about this matchup against Navy.
It's a fascinating game, no doubt about it, especially when you look at Navy from the offensive standpoint. Notre Dame offensively, I think the biggest thing here is to avoid mistakes. I think Notre Dame should be able to have success rather easily against Navy from an offensive standpoint, but you got to avoid the turnovers. I think for me, the way I would look at this game from a Notre Dame standpoint is they need to score points, and they know that. And in order to win this game, in order to cover, they're going to have to continue to score points. So if there was one wager that I would look at here from this game, it would be Notre Dame from a team total standpoint. I would go over 33 points here for the Irish. Navy has looked vulnerable at times from a defensive standpoint. They have not faced an offense like the Irish.
Well, listen, the points will be the name of this game, as I mentioned earlier, so I can't disagree with Tim Murray. Navy, whether you want to believe it or not, has not faced a great team this season, not even a great defense. The closest thing to that was Memphis, and Navy gave up 44 points. So, yes, Notre Dame total points in this play will be great. They scored 100 points between Memphis and Navy weeks ago, but you could also take the over in this matchup as well. Well, listen, Levon's parlay, the new sign is out here on the East Coast in New Jersey. For that sake, I'm taking Jeremiah Love anytime touchdown. Riley Leonard to score 2+ touchdowns. Riley Leonard over 54.5 rushing yards. And Blake Horvath, the Navy quarterback, to have a rushing touchdown as well. This is going to be a sticky game, as it always is, but I think Notre Dame can hit these lines.
Boy, I don't know if they cover the total points, though. I mean, for Navy, you think of this Navy offense as 6 possessions per game, but it's not like that anymore.
Well, listen, averaging nearly 45 points, even if they hit half of that margin, they're in good shape to hit the over in this matchup because Notre Dame, listen, if Notre Dame can go out there and put up, 30-plus points against Georgia Tech, they can certainly come out here and put up 30-plus points against Navy. I have no doubt in my mind. I want to know what are you writing here?
He's hot right now.
I'm hot, baby.
Bet on it.
Steaming. Hot as fish grease, baby. Listen, we're going to get this job done. We're going to win on the road again as we did last week in Atlanta. So
I just would like to know, out of curiosity, do you feel like Riley Leonard is going to pass for over or under 2 passing touchdowns today?
I don't believe he will, but I don't believe he has to. If there was ever a game where you can make the Navy. Now, this is a game, it kind of plays into Notre Dame's hands as well. Not only does Notre Dame defense have to be careful with their eyes, Navy's defense will have to be careful with their eyes because of the run-pass option that Riley Leonard is capable of. And last I checked, Navy's defense wasn't ranked 10th in the country. Notre Dame is.
All right, there's so much more to come here on ABC 57 Kickoff.
Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. It's starting to get a little fired up here on this sideline. They got the music playing. We got Ned Volkart, 1988 national champion and captain of that defense. Ned, we love having you, and you are a New Jersey native. So we were in your stomping grounds. We went to a place called Emerald Corner, and we got to get an Irish bar in Jersey with your jersey up inside of the bar.
Yeah, so shout out to Emerald's Corner in Clifton, New Jersey. They put a great spread on that night, and Allison, the crew went there. Yes, my jersey's there. It's a great local town bar. You know, New Jersey's not a college town.
Nope.
Because you got Rutgers, but it's not a college town. But you made the most of it, seeing the most you can. But there's thousands and thousands of Notre Dame fans in New Jersey, and most of them are showing up here today for this game.
Kind of nice having it in your backyard, isn't it?
I love it. I love the fact that I only have to drive 20 minutes to MetLife Stadium, and then we got Yankee Stadium coming in November. That's a bus ride away. Yes, I love it.
Ned, you were a part of a championship-level defense at Notre Dame. Looking at this Notre Dame team, they are banged up in some spots, but do you feel like this Notre Dame defense is at a championship level despite injuries in those situations? And what are some of the intangibles that a championship defense has, and do you feel like you see some of those similarities in Notre Dame?
Well, what I like that I saw in the Texas A&M game and a few games since then is that the defensive line is getting good pressure on the quarterback. The linebackers are making great short tackles. Stuff in the middle, which they have to do today, stop the fullback on the triple option. And the defensive backs are making short tackles, and they're covering well. So elite defense, they're a very good defense. They are banged up. We'll find out when they play, the best teams in the country, whether they're elite or not. I think they're damn good, but the depth will be tested this year.
Well, Ned, you played against Navy. You know how hard that triple option is. But what exactly would you tell these young players, 8, 9 players that have not played Navy on this team? What kind of advice would you give them if they were playing, you were facing Navy again for the first time?
Well, Air Force was the team back then that ran the triple option so well. And I got to tell you, the worst week of practice is always getting ready for them, playing against number 1 Notre Dame offense to play the triple option. So, A, you got to tackle the fullback. B, you got to tackle the quarterback. C, you got to tackle the pitch guy. But here's what scares me about Navy this year, because they're so good at what they do, and you only can practice so many weeks of the year in preparation for this game, is that they can throw the ball. This quarterback can throw the ball. Now, you think the triple option, that's scary enough, and 44 points a game and ball control, and now you got a guy who can actually complete passes. That makes a very scary offense today. I'm not better. Spread's only getting 13 points. I love Notre Dame, but, man, I take Navy, closer game.
Interesting. Well, now, so you had the experience of going from Notre Dame to the NFL, and then there, of course, is life after the NFL. And so recently we were talking, and you told me that you were a part of sort of a new initiative through the NFL Players Association that's really kind of taking an emphasis on physical but also mental health. Absolutely. Can you tell me about the experience that you had at the Cleveland Clinic?
Yeah, so this is a shout out to any player who played at least 2 years in the NFL. 2 years, that's it. So for the last maybe decade or so, between the NFL and the NFLPA, they set up the NFL Trust, and they have brain body assessments at Tulane University, Boston Mass General, Cleveland Clinic, where I was this week, and many other opportunities to help out former athletes, whether you're 65, 70 years old, or 32 just out of the league. But it was off the chart, unbelievable. They tested everything from orthopedic, neurological. I bet this was a multi-$100,000 trip out there, and they treat you like gold. So if you are an ex-player and you are fortunate enough to get these opportunities to do anything with the NFL Trust, NFLPA, look up your benefits, reach out, make one phone call, and they will guide you through the rest, because it will make a difference in your life and your family's life forever. So I love it. Big shout out to the NFL Trust.
I love that. We got to focus on this game. You said it's going to be close. Score prediction. Who do you think?
Wow. I mean, they both can score. I'm thinking ball. If Navy controls the ball and can pass the ball, we're in trouble, because they're going to hold the ball all day. Okay. I love Riley Leonard when he's Riley Leonard completing passes. When he's Riley Leonard inefficient, I don't like him. So if he can be efficient, I'm saying, 40-36 Notre Dame.
Whoa!
Yeah. Could be lower, but I'm counting on Riley Leonard showing up from the Stanford game, because if you can't complete passes, they'll stack the box, they'll shut down our run, even though you have great running backs. But Navy will control the ball a lot, and Navy can throw the ball. It's scary.
That's awesome.
It's a little closer than I want to hear, but I do like it. I like your analysis. Very good, Ned. Ned Bolkar, 1988 national champion. We love having you on. Thank you.
I always love being part of this.
It's been a while.
You guys do a great job. Thank you. Go Irish. Go New Jersey.
All right. There is plenty of trash talk, a few friendly wagers, and even a special message for a Notre Dame coach. Coming up, we take you inside the Giants locker room for a little fun. You don't want to miss that next.
Meadowlands, home of the Jets and the Giants.
Jets and the boys in blue. Kind of describe Denbrock as an offensive coordinator and what he brings to your game.
He's the reason I'm here, bro.
Playing at Notre Dame was definitely tough. I would put it up there with some of the toughest places I played.
It goes back from my found memories of, Matt Leinart, the Bush Push.
It was crazy, I ain't gonna lie. We went there, it was super cold. I was not a fan of that.
It's just two powerhouses, two schools that go back and go back and go back.
I will say this. Me and the old boy right here gonna put up a little wager. I got some gear for him to wear if we pull off this win.
So you and Nick McLeod gonna have a little friendly wager.
Stop using Derrick Henry. I'd rather get ran over.
Go, come on! I hear you and Nick McLeod like to get into it a couple times when Notre Dame and USC are playing.
Yeah, we do. I think I've been on the good end of it to be able to get my bragging right. So we're going to see this year how it goes. We're not playing too well, so it's a little tough.
He going to wear my jersey. I got my jersey and my pants back at the crib. He gonna come down looking like me from state.
What's the message you want to leave Mike Denbrock and what he's doing over there at Notre Dame?
Mike, my dog, man, you're the reason I'm here. Continue to show, that sign, that love, that grit that, I got. I'm rooting for you over the week. Hope y'all get that dub. We've been losing. I don't mind. I'm still going to bet on LC. I'm still banking on this to win. We got great talent. We got great players. They can get the job done. It's just falling short, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those toughest little situations.
Levon gives me crap all the time about picking Notre Dame. See, you just got to pick your team, right?
No, you got to always. If you don't, who will?
Oh, they like to give Nick McLeod some trouble.
Well, I want to give you some trouble or a little shout out. I loved it. He's like, let's take a picture real quick. Just take a picture. It looks cool in here. And all of a sudden you transformed that into the New York state of mind. We're clapping. I mean, just so cool. What a great experience to be in that facility and to just have a chance to talk with Malik Neighbors and his connection with Notre Dame Mike Denbrock.
Yes, well, Malik Neighbors played for Mike Denbrock. Mike Denbrock was his offensive coordinator down in LSU, the number one offense in the country last year. And now Mike Denbrock is out here on the field under Marcus Freeman as his offensive coordinator for the first year. And I just had to ask Malik, man, listen, dude, how is it getting adjusted to a quarterback who can run with his legs and probably doesn't have their trust right away in elite receivers?
I got to interrupt you. We got a special guest.
Yeah, hey, get in here.
Yeah,
let's go Irish, baby!
You never know who you're going to find on the sideline out here. We got the Notre Dame Leprechaun. Hey, we got a prediction from you today?
Irish by a million, baby. Ain't nothing to it. And the Notre Dame defense is going to help with that as Al Golden walks in the background.
That's right.
We've got so much more on kickoff, including Super Bowl champion Howard Cross Jr. He joins us live, getting ready to watch his son on the field in just a few minutes. We'll be right back on ABC57 Kickoff.
Let's go, baby! Woo!
With the same rich tradition of the Irish.
Wake up the echoes cheering her name.
Send the volley cheer on high.
Shake down the thunder from the sky.
What though the odds be great or small?
Old Notre Dame will win overall.
While her loyal sons and daughters
march on to victory.
I'm Matt Teitel, and you're watching ABC57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC57 Kickoff on the road, presented by Afton Dental. Live from the Meadowlands with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
Notre Dame Navy. It's a noon kickoff right here on ABC 57. If the Irish win, this will be their third win over a top 25 ranked opponent. If Navy gets the victory, it'll be their second win over a ranked team, something the Midshipmen haven't done since 1958. How about that?
And one of the key matchups today will be the Navy run game versus the Notre Dame D-line. Whoever wins that battle likely wins this game here at the Meadowlands.
Well, who better to talk about that than joining us right now? Former New York Giant tight end Super Bowl champion by the way, Howard Cross Jr., and you just so happen to be a proud father today. Your son, Howard Cross III, is out here getting warmed up right now. Howard, for you to be able to watch your son and be on this field, the one that you played on, how special is this moment for you?
Oh, it's really cool. You know, it's kind of like seeing things all over again, watching my son, you know, grow up and come into these games, watching some of the Giants games as he played, and said, I'll be out there one day, and now he's actually out here. Really cool.
Well, and a lot of fathers dream about their sons following in their footsteps and doing what they do. You know, at what age did you see the third really take it to the next level and think to yourself, you know what, this is college, not only college, the pros is the next level. Where did you see that in him?
I never thought about the pros, but I know that when he got to high school, he started playing at St. Joe's High School, and they were won four out of 5 championships or 3 out of 4 championships, and he was really, you know, excelling as a sophomore. I'm like, wow, maybe this kid really is a football player, so it's pretty exciting to watch him.
Well, you know, you also are an analyst. You do the Giants broadcast. You work for the Yes Network. So put that analyst hat on a little bit and kind of scout your son. The potential you feel like Howard has moving on to that next level in the NFL.
Well, for Notre Dame, he probably plays more of nose tackle, where he's always double team or triple team. When it comes to the next level, he'll be a 3-technique player. He'll be playing in the gap. They do a lot more of that around the league these days with guys like penetration to get deep down in the backfield, and that's what kind of player he is. So a lot of teams will be interested in seeing that.
Well, and, you know, another thing that people may not understand is that you were a tight end in the NFL, but you were very much known as a blocking tight end. I'm going to give some numbers, though, to rattle them off. You did have 2,100 receiving yards and 17 touchdowns for your career, but you also won the award for best blocking tight end in college football at Alabama. That's got to be something that it takes a special player to be able to be unselfish. And we're seeing a lot of these current Notre Dame skill position guys like Jeremiah Love, like Bo Collins, who are not necessarily getting the catches that they would have been getting because they are making blocks and opening up holes for their teammates. What is that mentality for a player to make that unselfish decision?
I think it's more not so much unselfish. I think it's just a football player. When you're a football player, that's when you go out and make plays and do whatever's asked of you. If you're wanting to be the guy that's always catching the ball or touching the ball, you're not necessarily a football player. You're just like a receiver or something. If you're a football player, you do it all.
I'm going to borrow this mic from you here real quick. So you also brought a special guest with you today, your daughter, Bella Cross. Come on in. Come on in. Bella is Howard's twin sister. Bella, your dad tells me that you and Howard are super close. What is your relationship like now, but more importantly, maybe what was it like growing up?
Growing up, I think we were super close, getting to be in the same household. I think his competitive drive comes from having to compete with me, but I don't know. I don't want to actually claim that, but I don't know. Growing up, it's always been super close, and I think we've both pushed each other, and getting to come home now, it's so important and so cool to see him on a stage like this and kind of see it fit him now instead of kind of being too big for words in a way, I guess.
I love that. We went on socials. We found some pictures of you two as little kids together. Dad, what were they like as kids? Was there that competitiveness? Was one of them the instigator, maybe?
Oh no, they were like really competitive as kids. Like I think Bella made the all-star team on Pee Wee baseball or something like that, and Howard's like, I'm stopping baseball now, and they went out for lacrosse together. So they've always been competitive their entire lives.
What about Howard? You know, do you talk to him after the games, before the games? And what do you say to him? You know, it's your twin. So, I mean, you two have to just be thinking on the same level all the time. So, you know, what words of advice do you give him before games and after games?
Before games, I just try to say, you know, be confident. Obviously, it's your 6th year. You've got it. You know what you're doing at this point. After games, I like to think I'm one of the first calls he makes. I let him know I watched. I let him know I'm, you know, proud of him and just to keep pushing. You know, it's great. And now, like, being in playoff standing and stuff is really exciting for them. So just to be confident and keep pushing is.
And Howard, that's actually a good question for you as well. Do you talk a lot of football with your son, or do you try to stay away from that with him?
Nah, you talk to him about it a lot. I think football's like, you know, what he's doing right now. He's finished with school, kind of. I think he's even got his master's already. So he's got to like focus and think about what's the next part of football. The biggest part of football for him now is not just playing, but learning to do film study, learning to, learn your opponent through the film and understand what you got to do and have a plan. If you have a plan, you'll play better.
Now, I do have one last question because Howard is very serious and kind of quiet with us. I'm guessing he's not like that at home.
No, they're like
we'll
two
neither
5-year-olds.
confirm nor deny.
I'm not surprised by that one bit. Well, Howard, you've been like the mayor of the Meadowlands today, enjoying yourself. This experience, just walking around, shaking hands, kissing babies. Have fun today out here with your friends and family.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. He's been a Notre Dame fan his entire life, but today, one South Bend veteran is honoring his commitment to me that he made for our country.
The enemy was on one side and we were on the other side. Yeah, I always figured I had an angel on my shoulder.
Pictures of courage, how he helped other vets through his love of photography. That's next.
A push for the playoffs. Notre Dame and Navy are getting ready to face off right here on ABC57, a historic matchup full of rich tradition, and with both teams ranked in the top 25, each has something to prove and lose. Welcome back to ABC57 Kickoff, live on the road here at MetLife Stadium. I'm Allison Hayes alongside Vahid Sadrazadeh. It's getting a little breezy in here. We just saw the Notre Dame football team just left the field. They went back into the locker room. It's getting down to crunch time, Vahid.
It is. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a sellout crowd here. The weather is gorgeous, and it is Navy versus Notre Dame, the tradition, Allison.
Yes, absolutely. Well, God, country, Notre Dame, it's more than just words etched in the stone doors of the Basilica of the Sacred Heart. At Notre Dame, it is a way of life.
The university has commissioned more naval officers than any other school in the country, second only to the U.S. Naval Academy. And one of those officers happens to be a big-time Notre Dame fan. But today, he's watching, he's back in South Bend, cheering for the midshipmen, a victory for them, honoring his lifelong commitment to our nation and serving others.
I love 80s music now, but I'm an old time 50s, 60s rock and roller. President Nixon. I sent him a letter when I was in Vietnam, and he wrote me back. My name is Ralph Bakel, and my tours of duty were 1969 through 1971.
Bake, as his squadron called him, was 26 years old when he enlisted in the United States Navy as a radio man and gunner.
This has got all my projects on it that I've done over the years. I owned like 4 or 5 cameras. I got them at a discount working at the store.
But his love of cameras and photography started long before
1968.
His deployment to Vietnam.
It is nice, and I got film for it. One of the first projects I had, I took a black and white, I remember colorizing it with pixels, of my niece, Teresa. And my sister still has that from way back when. This was our commander on the Vente Canal on the Cambodian border. I took a lot of pictures of the people on the canal, the kids. Took a lot of pictures of the kids. They loved this. The photographs were. They loved to keep them.
That love, as it turns out, would be a blessing during his tours overseas, the memories of which he will never be able to forget.
That was for wounds in action.
So you received a Purple Heart for your service in Vietnam?
Yeah, just a scratch. Never got anything serious. I was always lucky.
Is that what that was in there for?
Yeah, that's the Purple Heart one. You went out every night and you were going to find Chuck, as we called him, or Chuck was going to find you. One or the other.
Unlike many of his peers, Bakel made it home safely.
Yeah, I always figured I had an angel on my shoulder.
30 years later, he moved his family from Fort Wayne to South Bend and joined the local VA, where this time...
Those are both black and white photos.
His love of photographs merged with his long-lasting love for his country.
We're in Ralph's office, the grand poopah's office. I started on it with Photoshop.
A born historian and enthusiast, Bakel would enroll in classes at Ivy Tech in photography, specializing in colorizing and restoring old photos.
I scan over there. This is where I copy. It goes from there to here.
And for nearly a decade, fellow veterans and their families would come to him and ask him to do just that.
I would restore them, and I'd put them on a disc, and I'd put music to it. The VA, in my rehab, they purchased all this equipment for me. And they sent me, I think I went to Chicago, is where I ended up going, where they taught me how to use the computer.
Over 5,000 photos, some printed.
Right here they are.
Some gifted.
You wouldn't believe what we used in Vietnam.
All cherished.
I really enjoyed doing it, and I thought I was going to do it forever, but I'm 80 now, and you need to do more to keep up, but I can't. The enemy was on one side and we were on the other side.
Because of his 2 tours of duty, Bakel now has complications related to Agent Orange. Agent Orange was a toxic plant-killing chemical that the U.S. military used to clear foliage during the Vietnam War. As a member of the Mobile Ravine Force, he was exposed to the deadly herbicide daily.
That's how we lived on the boats. We didn't have no uniforms.
And since COVID, those complications have slowed him down more than he would like.
I took that picture.
But these photos...
That's modern warfare.
These keepsakes...
I never forget them.
These lifelong treasures...
Look at the smile on those guys' faces.
Keeps the memories of fallen comrades alive.
This was after a firefight.
And keeps Bakel...
that's the oath of enlistment.
Connected.
Go Irish, yay!
To one of the greatest loves of his life.
If Notre Dame wins, I guess it's okay. I still root for Navy. Oh, gosh.
His country.
Oh, yeah, I like Navy.
Yeah.
Go Navy. Goodbye, boys.
Well, a true Renaissance man, I like to call him. An incredible family man. His wife, Peg, his daughter, Kimberly, I want to give a shout out to. His caretaker. Ralph and I share a mutual love for photography, as a matter of fact, but as you know, the profession and hobby has changed over the year, more digital now. And to my surprise, he gifted me a 1960s camera that he used, and you saw in that story. And it's a little different from the digital camera, so I tried my hand at what Ralph does, and you can see the shots on your screen. I tried to colorize, I tried to unblur them, but listen, Ralph is a professional for a reason. He's been working at his craft a long time, and it is true. God, country, Notre Dame, people helping people. And he's done that his entire life. Just an incredible story, incredible man.
So touching, and just a beautiful job that you did on that. And for him, for sharing that story with us, we greatly appreciate his service and all that he's doing for other veterans.
And you can see our Naval Academy setting up, ready to go. The national anthem is coming up here at the Meadowlands. Kickoff is only just a few minutes away here on ABC57 Kickoff.
That's right. Of course, Navy and Notre Dame. It's going to be a matchup for the ages today, and that dreaded triple option. So difficult for teams to defend. Why? We check in with our Golick expert. Golick in a golf cart returns to ABC 57.
Man, you could get gashed so bad. You just have to have everybody attacking the ball. It is one of the most technical, fundamental games you have to play.
Meteorologist Dave Caulfield here with your game day forecast. As we move closer to kickoff, temperatures throughout the day in East Rutherford, New Jersey, going to be in the mid to upper 60s. We'll reach the high around 2 p.m. Highs in the upper 60s. Starting off with a mixture of sun and clouds, maybe a little bit more sunshine by the time we get to the fourth quarter. Could be a little bit breezy for the contest between Notre Dame and Navy, but it should be a nice day for football in New Jersey.
We are just a few minutes away from kickoff. A flyover here by the Naval Academy as well, Allison.
A beautiful performance of the national anthem. Woo! We are just moments away now from kickoff. It is game time for this matchup. Of course, whenever Notre Dame plays Navy, the Irish spend a lot of extra time preparing for the triple option. So why is it just so difficult to defend? We thought we would ask the big man himself, Notre Dame and broadcasting legend Mike Golick. We bring back a revival of Golick in a golf cart. Check it out.
Whenever you play a Navy and Air Force and Army, now occasionally they'll have these great players, standout players, but for the most part, it's the system. So you go the entire year or in between these games practicing for quote-unquote normal type of football, and then you get into a game like Navy and all of a sudden it's option football. And it's very tough to prepare for practice-wise. You just have to know your responsibilities for the option. That's the most important thing when you play one of the armed forces. Basically what they're doing is they certainly want to block it and execute their blocks. So basically what goes on defensively, since I played against this a lot here, is you have to have responsibilities. Who's responsible for the fullback? Who's responsible for the quarterback? Who's responsible for the pitchman? Play your responsibilities. When you get in trouble is when you try and do more than you should. You try and do more than what your responsibility is. Trust your teammate that he's going to take care of business. The one thing you have to do is you have to beat your man. You have to execute first and then take care of your responsibility. And the speed and precision and teamwork they do it at is amazing. It's amazing. And you can be more physically imposing than they are and a better athlete than they are, but they just don't stop. They do not stop. You block, you beat them, you beat them physically, they just jump right back up and they're in your face for the next play. But man, you can get gashed so bad. And they love to spread you out and get a lot of space so they have holes to pick from. You just have to have everybody attacking the ball, because as soon as a DB tries to jump into the option, they're gonna throw a pass over the top. So it is one of the most technical, fundamental games you have to play. And oh, by the way, it's not a normally block game. You have guys at your legs the entire time, just diving at your knees, crawling at your knees. So it is a whole different ball game in trying to prepare for it. And then when you see the actual speed of it when you play against it.
All right, they are starting to do the lineups right now. It is just about game time. There is an update from Notre Dame's PR. Yep. They say all student athletes listed on the Notre Dame 2 Deep chart for this week are available. No extra injuries. They're healthy. They are ready to go. The buses were pulling in. 4,400 Naval Midshipmen all came in together for this game today.
Goosebumps, but you know what? What a rivalry. The 97th edition. Final score predictions, I'm taking the Irish. I think they're the best defense, one of the best defenses in the country, even without Benjamin Morrison on that back end. I think Notre Dame gets it done. They hold this high-flying offense 38-10, the final score. Still not that 52.5, but I'm taking the Irish.
I'm pretty close right there with you. Navy, listen, they're averaging nearly 45 points per game against nobody teams.
Right.
They haven't faced Notre Dame's defense or anything even like it. I'm going to take the Irish 38-17. I'm giving them a little bit of wiggle room there because they might get them with that triple offense or triple option offense. But overall, Notre Dame getting it done today. The Irish looking to go 6 straight wins on that path to the playoff.
Well, it is almost a packed house here at the Meadowlands. We appreciate you joining us here on ABC57 Kickoff. Enjoy the game. We'll have highlights after the matchup. Go Irish as always, Allison. What a game.
And thank you so much for watching us back home and around the world. This is ABC57 Kickoff. Go Irish.
Go Irish.